Hey kids, Brendan Hoffler of Beast Fitness here again. Today we're going to talk about clean and pressing odd objects, in particular today the sandbag. I just finished my warm up, so I got all my shit on. A big part of the sandbag isn't just your strength, it's your technique. And I think this is where a lot of people mess up. You know, they're strong enough to press it, but their technique isn't dialed in enough to really make it happen. Let's talk about some other clean and presses before we dig into the sandbag. The bar. Simplest, well maybe not simplest, but easiest as far as some of these other odd implements. With the bar, we talk about an efficient clean and press, or really any efficient movement with the bar, is a vertical bar path. You know, if on the clean or the press, that bar is coming away from us, coming out at an angle in front of us, it makes it more and more difficult. But the more we can put that bar in a straight up and down line on the clean and the press, the more efficient the movement is. The more efficient it is, the easier it is to put up more weight, which is ultimately the goal. When we talk about other implements, like the log, guess what? Same thing applies. Especially when we get to that rack position. I've done a log video in the past, and I pick on the log position. A lot of people end up with their head forward, their arms down here. And you can imagine that log is in front of my body. Check it out. And what I talk about is head back, elbows up. And now the log is over the shoulders. Well, with the sandbag, that's the biggest problem that happens. When you end up with this sandbag way out here, we're looking right at it. This feels awful. Maybe we're doing one of these, right? And it's hard to press. It's hard to dip. It's hard to drive. It's hard to press. So think about the log, where we get it over our shoulders. And we don't necessarily need our elbows up for this, but we can put our head back a little bit. There might be a little lean back, but you can see here, I can get over my center more. It should be easier to dip and press. Easier to get it in a straight line up and down. That's the press. The other thing that I see people make a mistake of is position of the sandbag. And this starts as soon as we pick it up. A lot of people, especially with these small sandbags, actually end up with the long side up. And you gotta look, because some of these small sandbags look pretty square. They're not. Typically, if it's upright like this, black one, long side is up, even if it's 100 pounds. If it's like the red one, where it's tilted over, I know it's hard to see, typically that's long side down, or cross, horizontal. That's gonna be easier. Why? A taller object, higher center of gravity, harder to press. So we want to get that object short. The only way we do that is by turning it. So you want to position that sandbag sideways right from the floor. I'm going to get my sets in. So this might get a little boring, but let's take a look. I actually don't like the wrist wraps, I'm going to be honest. They feel restrictive. So my next set, taking them up. Right, where do they feel restrictive? Everything up to the press. Why? Well, we gotta crush our hands in the sandbag, underneath the sandbag, which typically means we're like this. The wrist straps, they want me here. Same with the clean, trying to grip it. And by the time I get to my shoulders, positioning feels wrong. So the next one I do, in a couple minutes, I'm gonna do them without the wrist straps. I'm gonna take a minute. Don't be afraid to skip ahead a little bit.
I'll feel all these emotions. I
Background
snap my
noise.
finger and have them say something like, I only drink coffee from Central America. And then that way I can just hate them the most. Like when I'm home, after I drop it off when I'm home and I realize I'm only having ingredients in my shopping cart for a meal for one, I can feel these emotions coming up. I'm going to snap my finger and have the person in front of me pull out coupons and a checkbook. I really love the idea of hating someone but not be sad.
Good. Very strong.
Thank you.
Jack Daniels, the father of two.
Yes, that's right.
How's your son doing?
He's doing great. He's kind of got his own life. You know, he has his own apartment. He's got this long-time girlfriend. They just moved in together. He has a full-time job. He's got 2 cats. So he's like a real person. He's a real adult person.
Yeah, you got something to look up to.
Oh, I'll tell you what I did though. Listen to this. He asked me to watch his cats, and so I went over there. He was gone for a week, and I went over the first day, even though I knew the cats did not need anything. But I went over there and I used his bathroom, and I did not flush. I turned every single light and electronic on.
Not as good. What did I do wrong? Hands were on the side of the sandbag rather than underneath. So as I pressed, it slid. Well, I got it up. It may not be a good call. So we're going to try that again.
So you will be a full-time so-called empty nester.
The removal of the wrist straps made a great big difference, especially on the clean, and positioning on the chest, and the lap position off the floor, all that stuff.
After she's going to go somewhere warm to school, and so
I may need to fiddle getting into an optimal rack position.
great. I'm going to drive her back.
Hands start around the sandbag, which means they're going to be above.
To an hour away from her.
What may be the best is to move one hand, bounce it, and move the other on the bounce. That way I can get 2 hands underneath it.
Yeah, that's too much. So
We'll take a minute or 2.
You know there are warmer.
We'll try it again.
Places, yeah, right.
yeah, I'm going to chase her to college and probably, who knows, maybe I won't even come back after I bring her for freshman orientation. I have a feeling that I'll be like, okay, so Tuesday we move you in, Wednesday's freshman orientation, Thursday is meet your classmates, and then I'll just stay for the weekend. And then, Sunday I'll probably start second guessing myself.
Something I've been thinking about.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'll come check out some of your classes.
And that
Go to college with you.
rep reinforces this idea. They used to do this in the 90s a lot with stone presses. Is to rest the sandbag on her head.
I think I must have done this parenting wrong.
Now, if it's not in the rules that you can't do it,
Empty nester, huh? It's gonna be awesome.
typically the rule of thumb is you can do it as long as they say you can.
What's happening?
Resting it on your head gives you another opportunity to reposition.
Of course,
It is also now resting a heavy implement
is Friday the 13th
on your head.
Limestone Comedy Festival in Bloomington.
So let's see if we can avoid that.
Thanks for having me. Good to see everybody.
Great seeing you, man.
Text me when you get here, weirdo. All right.
You got it.
Christy Lee is romantic in his desk. It's fine.
Where would I go?
Fast coming from that.
Yeah.
records obtained by the Gainesville Sun show that over 100 personalized license plates submitted over the last 3 years,
Little better.
190 were rejected. Among those rejected,
Challenge with my sandbags is they're loose as shit.
or the plates were
Getting the same position every time isn't always easy.
IoT. Idiots not nice.
I might try the heavier one for shits and giggles.
This one you don't need to spot.
The goal today
Mr. Poop. Mr. Poop is good.
was certainly handling the move.
Simple, yes, elegant. This has to be someone who works for Honeywell.
If you can't press 180, how are you going to press
We
250?
played a dinner the other night in the parking lot that said shart.
Shards.
Well, Fartman was rejected in Florida,
Poor Fartman.
and OH
Yeah.
farts.
Oh, farts.
Does it cute? Old farts would be cute.
These are rejected in the state of Florida.
Right. There are a few places that did get the green light though.
All right.
SXY space GRMA.
And what does that spell there,
Sexy grandma, you mean? Sexy grandma.
I don't know why, but that works. Sexy time does not work. Sexy grandma, that works.
Sexy grandma.
Yeah.
McNasty with it.
All right. See, that's not right.
I don't, that, yeah.
Isn't that?
This next one I really don't get. It's kind of awful. MO
Yeah.
space STIKY.
Most stinky.
S-T-I-K-Y? So most sticky.
Most sticky.
Most
Well, I guess in Florida it's humid and sticky, but
sticky.
yeah.
I thought it was most stinky.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Was it most, is it supposed to be,
maybe it's a weed guy, you know, sticky.
Oh, I don't know.
Is
Yeah.
that, most sticky? What is sticky? Is that?
Stinky icky, I think it refers to sometimes with really good pot, while you're holding it up, your fingers will get sticky and gummy, because all like the that's all like cannabinoids or terpenes.
Right.
Some weed there is gonna get mad at
Most
you.
sticky.
And this one got passed, which I'm really shocked.
Are you trying to get Mo Dicky?
That's in my list, but I'm sure somebody probably did.
No, you.
Oh, no, I
You wanted more of it.
No, I'm fine.
You want to put a bunch of more dots across the top?
You actually might go in Boston, Josh.
Oh, do
You
you?
are really, okay, here's the last one. I, space, G-O-T, space, A, space, P. Hey, let that go? That's kind of vulgar.
Well, officer, I'm wondering why you pull me over. Look at my license plate.
Well, in Florida, well, that's gonna be all the time.
That's not bad. It needs a lot of work. I'm okay with that today.
Vanity plate. She's less sticky.
You need to go back and rewatch that. Look for a few things. Just taking my time to get in a good position
7 spaces.
underneath the sandbag.
Hello?
Again,
Oh, I get HBY.
we're here.
Yes,
Which means when we clean it,
that'd be cool.
we're here, we're above it. We gotta get both hands underneath that sandbag and find that balance point.
Maybe I would just go letter, I'm sorry.
So I took a lot of time to get in position. And I didn't go to press it until I felt both hands were underneath the sandbag. I'm gonna move on today. I got quite a few weeks to dial this in. I'm pretty happy with how this went today.